Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another series of webinars that makes you aware of the various programs which are there at the undergraduate level in UPS. I, Rajeev Sharma, am here today to share little beyond what we had shared in the last series of the webinar. One is about the various undergraduate programs, uh, various domains which have the programs or courses here at UPS. And a little extension to that, I'll share a couple of examples in terms of the job prospects if you uh, carry out, if you conduct these programs, if you pursue these programs. With that brief introduction, I would like to begin my presentation with a point that why UPS, how does the programs which are being offered at University of Petroleum and Energy Studies are different from other programs which are offered in the different universities across the country. So basically, what are the differentiators that sets us apart, that is our competence in terms of offering undergraduate programs, so that it is like a terminal degree for the student who is pursuing the program. By terminal degree, what we mean is that once you have finished your undergraduation program, you are well equipped to join the industry, you are ready to do the job, which most of the students these days are preferring uh, before they pursue their post graduation. This is a changing trend that has happened over the last decade and a half, which started happening when in the post 90s in reforms period, when industry started looking for their domain specific expertise or education in terms of people, in terms of students whom they hire for working. So, what differentiates us from rest of the universities or rest of the institutions that offer undergraduate program is one is that we have industry focused and domain specific programs. When I say domain specific programs, usually most of the institutions for a long period of time they were offering simple BBA programs, undergraduate level programs, but over a period of time with the changes happening in the economy in terms of industry as well as the education sector, there are some of the universities who have started domain specific undergraduate programs, and it has been happening for last decade and a half. At our university we offer programs in different domains which include oil and gas, which goes as a flagship program also because of the name of the university that it comes from. It's very clear from that, University of Petroleum and Energy Studies. So one is BBA oil and gas, then we have logistics management. Apart from that, there is a couple of other programs which are related to marketing, like e-business, uh, digital marketing, media management, uh, foreign trade, financial services. This year we are also going to start another domain of the energy, that is power business, aviation operations, foreign trade, auto marketing, uh, and generic BBA, which includes HR, marketing, and operations. So quite a varied domains covering almost major chunk of the industries which are looking for the young skilled workforce. Uh, Second is that apart from the industry focused domains which I shared with you, uh, there is a general blend of specialized courses and general business courses that student will be pursuing. Whenever you are working in industry, apart from the domain knowledge, there is a certain outlook, certain body language, certain characteristics which are looked, certain traits which are looked in a person when you are working in a team or you are working under any leadership. So to enhance your personality, to improve your communication skills, so that you are well presentable and you can carry yourself well when you are representing any institution, any industrial house, any organization. uh, very much care of these aspects is also taken, that in terms we refer them as soft skills. So we have a communication department that does a personality enhancement program as soon as the students join the program in the beginning. uh, it's not only at the beginning, over a period of time, over a period of 3 years, when student pursues their education at the university, at the different stages as per the requirement, there are specific programs are introduced, or specific programs that student needs to carry out. They are both online as well as offline, to improve their communication skills, which helps them when they sit for the interviews after pursuing their fifth semester or during the fifth semester, so that they are able to represent them well. Apart from that, as I said, that domain specific programs from each and every domain that I have mentioned, there are 10 to 11 domains that I mentioned in the beginning. For each domain, we invite industry experts from the respective industries. They are guest lectures which are organized at the regular interval. Apart from that, many of the programs, many of the domain specific subjects, it's more or less varying between 15 to 20% of the syllabus many a times is done by the industry expert, which complements the theoretical knowledge that uh, an academician or the teacher at the university, professors at the university share with the students in terms of basics and fundamentals. That is complemented by an industry expert, those who come here and share their experience, share the practical issues which come up in the industry when you work, or they also share that what is industry looks forward, or how you should prepare yourself to fit in the competitive world. How we do that? Apart from industrial interactions, apart from guest lectures, we also ask our students, or we also assign our students industry visits as well as field assignments when they are pursuing their second or third year, where domain specific projects are introduced. So they do some research work, they do some projects, and in the fourth semester we take them for the industrial visit. Like people who come from aviation operations, they visit GMR, they visit T3, good airports in the country. People who come from foreign trade, they visit certain export houses, they visit JNPT, where foreign trade takes place or operations take place. Similarly, oil and gas firms, they oil and gas undergraduate program students, they visit certain refineries, they visit certain lube units in those refineries, for which they have to later on work in the marketing sector. So similarly, for each domain, uh, an industry visit is organized. This is the first exposure of the student to the industry, practically things taking place there. Apart from that, it is followed by a 2 months internship program, where students work in some company, some airport, some organization, to learn basics and to get exposed to that how practically things take place, and they work on certain problems. Sometimes they are assigned a project, sometimes they are assigned to a person who are carrying out a project, and they simply observe it, or they decide on the research problem which they need to study there. Apart from that, as not only in terms of professions, as I mentioned, that in terms of overall development of the students, they need to be sensitive about the things which are happening around. So we organize certain community service programs for the students, which they participate. These programs include Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, under which students visit nearby places where they do the required that needs to be done. More of the traffic is increasing, so in terms of safe driving, in terms of using proper measures so that you drive safely, such activities are also organized. To increase the greenery or plantation activities, or they visit some of the old age homes where they work for couple of days, or they volunteer for some of the services, or sometimes constructions are happening around where we are staying, or there are small villages which are in the vicinity of the university. They go there and they teach younger students. They teach them that they share with them that how they should be behave hygienically, how themselves they need to be carried up. So in all, how these are the points which differentiate if a student pursues his or her education or undergraduate program at University of Petroleum Studies. We look for the students to get placed at the end of the third year or in the third year. Some of them opt for further studies, but then lately the trend has begun where students, after finishing their undergraduate programs, they work for certain number of years and then they go back to pursue their MBA. Couple of students who want to pursue their higher education in the international universities, many of the good universities, rather most of the good universities, they offer MBA program. They prefer the students who have 2 to 3 or 3 to 5 years of experience. So it's always good to have a domain specific education and then to work for 2 to 3 years before applying for MBA at the international universities. So this is where we are proud of that our programs are different domains in which the programs are there. They differentiate our programs from rest of the institutions or universities. Having said that, I'll briefly take you through the presentation where some part of the presentation I'll share basic what I had shared before also, that which are the programs that we are running, or as I mentioned before that in the beginning when they join there is personality enhancement program. I'm sorry for this. So they go through that personality enhancement program where communication department or communication experts from the uh, university as well as from the industry they visit. They conduct certain activities where ice breaking sessions or team building sessions. It also happens that students are new, students are coming from different cultural backgrounds. They come together, they are living out of their house after long, so they discuss certain things where they can be together and they can help each other. And this is the quality which later helps them when they join industry where they need to work in the team from the people who are coming from different cultural backgrounds. So apart from that, during semesters there is classroom teaching. In first year or first or second semester, they are same programs, they are common subjects which they read, which are required for basic understanding or fundamentals of the any domain in which you are working for. As you go to second and third year, that is from third to sixth semesters, you specifically learn some domain specific subjects and some interdisciplinary subjects also. Apart from that classroom teaching, there are field assignments, there are local visits, there are guest lectures, as I mentioned, and there are certain workshops also in which students participate. In semester 3, as I mentioned, that there is advanced skill set development through specific domain subjects, and in semester 4, there is industry visit, which is organized. Semester 5 has executive communication program also where students have to appear for the mock interviews which are conducted by HR as well as industry experts so that they can be given feedback that which are the areas where they still need to work before they appear for final placement selection or final selection program for the university. At the same time, they also do a dissertation, which is like they decide on certain topic. They are assigned a guide in the university. They try to do certain research. They try to explain that how that project or how that issue or how that problem, research problem, is to be worked out. This helps them later when they join certain research institutions or when they join some implementation programs within the jobs where they need to do certain research, where they need to be precise in terms of collecting information and in making certain reports. So apart from being an academic exercise, part of the curriculum, it has an implication later on when they join the jobs. In terms of courses taught, basic management courses in first and second semester, then there are domain courses from third to sixth semester, and there is a credit based system in which from third semester onwards they can also have certain open elective or certain program elective programs also. As I mentioned before, these are certain BBA programs which are offered here at the university. We are beginning rather first time this undergraduation program in terms of power business also. Apart from that, we have undergraduate program in e-business, media management. We have BBA with specialization in human resource management, marketing management, operations management, oil and gas marketing, logistics management, aviation operations, auto marketing, financial analysis and services, foreign trade, digital marketing, accounting and information systems, as well as BA economics. I'll briefly take you through each of the programs, that what are the career options in these if you pursue these programs. That is what is the major highlight of today's webinar or today's presentation. Apart from the program or apart from sharing career options, I'll share a couple of examples also, that when you join a job or when you join the industry, what is the kind of work which you do, and what is the kind of skills which industry is looking forward when you join them. As we are all aware that present government, they have undertaken quite a few initiatives in terms of improving the infrastructure in the country, and there are certain areas in which these infrastructure issues are being sorted, and power business or power is one of the major sectors which is need of the hour from commercial as well as domestic point of view also. And it's estimated that over 5 lakh technical manpower and 15 lakh of non-technical manpower is required to be inducted in this sector if all these initiatives are undertaken, and most of these initiatives get into the implementation mode. So different skill sets are required, and the career options which are there in terms of if you pursue your undergraduate program in power business are that executive in terms of power trading, in terms of regulatory practices, in terms of research associate. You can work as a research analyst, you can work as a marketing executive, or you can work as an associate trainee. I'll share a simple example. Suppose that there is a consulting group, like there is a Manikarna consulting firm that work in the sector of energy. They may have a project in terms of power, in terms of setting up a power plant. They may have a project in terms of setting up a solar plant, different modes of energy. So what a student does is that they get into the documentation, they collect information regarding to make a report. So they do required research, that what all is required to set up this business, or what all is required, the information that is required to the firm about that place, about the documents required, about the various procedures that need to be followed. So all this information needs to be a report constitutes all these informations with respect to the project which is being undertaken. So in this process, what student learns is about documentation. They work on documentation. They work on collecting certain information for that. So these are basically kind of jobs which a student will do if he or she pursues BBA in power business. I would like to mention one thing here, that when you are pursuing a terminal degree at an undergraduate level, the jobs across the domains, would be more or less by the which you will get is, one is you will get in terms of marketing or selling, that's one. Secondly, you will be working on market research. Within the marketing, you will be doing research in marketing research. It depends that in which domain you are, whether it's logistics or it's oil and gas marketing or it's foreign trade or it's logistics. There is a variation in the kind of work that you do across the domains, but basically you work as an executive if you are working in a marketing area, or you work as a research associate if you are more inclined, or if you are more you liking the job of research and documentation, you will be working as a research associate. So across the different domains, largely after undergraduate programs, after pursuing undergraduate program, you work in the area of either an executive, or you work as a research associate, or you also work as a business development agent where you bring in business for the company, you bring in clients for the company. So we can broadly divide it into these three or four generic things, but then again, once you select the domain, according to the domain, work would take place. According to the domain, you will do the research. According to the domain, you would be selling that product. So having said that, moving to next program, that is of e-business. uh, we all are very much aware that as the technology has developed, as the different applications of technology have been evolved and have been applied to the different sectors, e-business is one of the major sectors which has the prospects of further growth. And due to this, due to the penetration of internet across the country, across the world, different companies have been set up to do the e-business. I don't think I need to mention few. You all are aware of Amazon, Flipkart. We all have downloaded these applications on our mobiles, and youngsters are most of the time these days shopping online rather than visiting the stores. So e-business is one of the e-commerce, or e-business is one of the other undergraduate program which we are doing here. And I would relate it here to the digital marketing also, because all the companies which are operating through e-business or which carry this e-commerce sector, they are associated with certain products, obviously, and those companies which sell their product here through online, they do market also on the on the different digital platforms. So the kind of career options which e-business companies have are e-commerce consultant. I would like to clarify here that it takes some time to be at a higher level of hierarchy in terms of consultant. We work at a junior level when we begin with, when we say e-commerce consultant. So they can be marketing manager, they can be advertising and promotion manager. They can overlook the online marketing aspect of the firm, of the e-commerce which they are working for. They can be a website manager also. They can be a website coordinator also, that over a period of time, as the changes in the products take place, as changes in the prices take place, as more and more products are introduced by the company, by the Amazon or Flipkart or whichever business entity it is, they need to upgrade their websites also, they need to do the required changes. So basically these are different career options which a guy working in the e-business or pursuing education in the e-business can look forward to. Media management, as I mentioned before, that different tools or professional networks or practical experiences, as most of the businesses or most of the interactions, most of the marketing tools move towards digital or media, different platforms. Even in terms of the e-commerce business, what has happened is that with almost a lack of publications and registered newspapers, private news channels, government news channels. There are almost around say 859 to 860 channels which are being telecast in India. So the industry revenues also exceed into billions, and there is a requirement for the young generation. There is a requirement in these industries where you can say that young blood infuses new and new techniques, new and new ways to do the work to make it more attractive. And most of the companies these days, most of the institutions these days, they are looking for their skilled workforce which takes care of their image, which takes care of spreading awareness about what the institution offers, what the company offers about the products, or even media houses like NDTV and other channels. There are innumerable number of channels, Aaj Tak. So both in Hindi as well as in English media, there are large number of skilled manpower is required in this. So the different career options which people have in this area is that they can work as public relation officers, where they look for the firm which they are working, how to project that firm in the media. Apart from that, there are government institutions, government organizations, and even private companies also, where students can join as a management trainee. It can be a different platform. It can be a say media house or a company, and there are many areas in terms of including production or marketing or media and administration, both for commercial as well as non-commercial organizations. And some of the major portfolios as mentioned on the slide, that of a product manager, press officer, broadcasting manager, and copy editor. That includes the contents which are written, that is what you call as a copy, or the taglines which you come across, that's what is how it concludes the editing of the copy or the information which is being given there. So we have a media management program at undergraduate level. Apart from that, as I mentioned, that there is a generic BBA which includes human resource management, that includes marketing management as well as operation managements. These three programs, we are most of us are aware, are most generic programs, where if you come from human resources, you work as human resource journalist in within human resource management. As the development has been taking place, as the world or the firms globally are becoming more and more competitive, it has become really difficult for firms to retain good employees. Uh, Human psychology has also changed. People look for a change, say after a couple of years, but at the same time, if you look at from the company's perspective, they spend a lot in terms of training, in terms of building their skilled manpower, in terms of grooming them further. So it's always necessary for firms to retain their good employees, retain their human resources, as they are already skilled in their domains, in their area of expertise. So that is where this human resource management or this programs comes into play. People working in HR sector need to work on, say, compensation of the packages. They need to work on recruitments to recruit appropriate people which are fit for the job. So they also need to be recruited in the area of training programs, or welfare officers. Like they need to take care of the most of the things which help to grow the human resources, which help to enhance their skills, enhance their capacities, so that they can give best to the organization. At the same time, they can they feel the belongingness to the organization, and apart from that, to retain those employees for a longer period of time. So being a critical sector, these are various career options that are there if you pursue that program at the undergraduate level. Coming to marketing, as it's all clear, I'll be sharing this in within the specific domains also. And as I said in the beginning, that across the different domains, whosoever is working in case of the business development services, whether it's oil lubes, or it is logistic firms, or it is international marketing in foreign trade, in most of the, or it's auto marketing, in most of the domains, if you are working in a marketing sector, you will have career options in terms of a marketing executive, then not only marketing, sales executive, market research analyst, where you study market and then you accordingly form your marketing strategies or your sales, e-marketing executive. Then once you have sold your product, there are after sales services which are required. That's where customer relation executive or customer relation management like career options are there. And apart from that, direct marketing executives or showroom managers, like whatever sector you are, if you are in working for a, say, Shell or any other lube company, you will be working with the dealers, so you get an option to work as a showroom manager where you manage most of the things. Moving to operations management, one of the another most critical sector in the industry, especially in today's times where companies are cutting costs, companies are becoming more productive, and there is less and less of the inventory that needs, because it increases cost, and on-time delivery for the product from factory to the customer till the last leg. So to carry on all these activities, operations need to be carried out in a very optimum manner, so that there is not much wastage in the resources also. Uh, there is no extra working capital also involved. So considering all this, this is one of the critical areas in any sector wherever the manufacturing or production is taking place. So the operation management program done at the undergraduate level helps students to have different careers in operations supervisors, operations executive, or warehouse executives, where once the product is produced, you need to keep it in the warehouse from where the further distribution at the wholesale or at the retail level begins. Then there is shift supervisor. The duty of shift supervisor is to, as in many of the sectors, say automobile sector, uh, the work happens in all the three shifts. In different shifts, different people, different executives, they work to ensure that operations are being run smoothly. So shift supervisor, you can work in the different shifts. Then there is vendor management executive as well as purchasing executive. They need to put up orders according to the production cycle that needs to be carried out. They need to procure raw material at one of the most what you say most economical manners, which helps to keep the cost in check. At the same time, they don't have to buy so much of material that keeps lying for a longer time, which need to take care of the warehouse as well as inventory management. So having said that, these are the different career options which are offered to the student once he works in this area or once he pursues education at the undergraduate level. Coming to oil and gas marketing, one of the flagship programs of the universities, and the different firms or different career options here are like, if I have to name a few firms in which our students have been working, it's Shell, then it's Castrol, HPCL. Most of these firms have one of the components apart from other fuels, that is lube market or lubricant, what we refer as. So most of the students get a job in these lubricant companies, that is one, Castrol or Shell, where they work as sales and marketing. And as I mentioned before, that in customer relation management, business development, that is to bring in new clients, at the same time to provide them after sales services so that they can retain those clients, to continuously have the feedback from the customers about their requirements, about the different products, to make them aware that what are the different products company is offering, because the need according to the different sectors or different automobiles is different. So they work broadly in case of sales and marketing. That's one. Second, our students work in terms of research and consulting companies. In simple language, if I say that the companies which are producing lubricants these days, uh, if we take an example of automobile sector, in most of the automobile sectors, when the vehicle goes out of the finally out of the factory, that is when it is lubricant is required. So in management terms or in operation terms, we refer it as JIT, that is just in time technology. So neither before or nor after. Continuously, this needs to be taken to those factories, those orders which are placed. That is where the executives or sales and marketing or say customer relationship management, these all come into the play if you are working in this area, that you need to be precise and you need to have done your proper homework, that how much is required, when it is required, or what kind of changes are required if there is sudden changes in the requirements. uh, so our student work both in case of sales and marketing as well as in research institutions or research companies, to name a few, that is Global Data or eValue Serve, where they work on certain data and they do the certain research programs or research analysis which they apply. As I mentioned in the beginning, that when they do dissertation at the university in terms of their academic program in the sixth semester, this is where those research done during that time is applied, and this is how it helps students when they work in the research or consulting companies. Coming to logistics management, one of the major upcoming sectors, or rather one of the major prevalent sectors where there are a lot of job perspectives, because as more and more trade happens within the country or outside the country, this sector comes to play the major role, because goods need to be transferred from one place to another, from one country to another, and over a period of last decade and a half, rather I would say that it has been happening since previous times, but in the post 90s and post reforms, when our economy got integrated to rest of the world with more of the globalization taking place, international trade has also increased over a period of time in many fold. So logistics management plays a most important role in that, and our market is expected to grow between 12 to 13% in coming years, and especially your fast moving consumer goods within the country, as well as certain products where we export or import the products. That's where the international trade comes into play, and our country spends almost around 15% of the gross domestic product. That's quite a substantial amount in terms of logistics and transportation, as compared to other developing countries which spend only 8% of the amount. So that's where your 3PL logistics companies uh, come into play, or couple of them are also international freight forwarding companies. The different career options here are in terms of purchasing and sourcing, in terms of vendor development, inventory control, warehousing and distribution, or logistics management. I'll share a simple example with you, that when a firm which need to uh, send their consignment internationally, there are international freight forwarding, there are international commercial terms which are used, like say free on board, where a firm or a seller of a raw material or what the order is, they have to simply ship their order, and beyond that it is the buyer who takes all the responsibility. Apart from that, the another way is that another term which is DDP, that is delivery duty pay, where a seller has to not only send or not only ship the product, they need to ensure that the product reaches customers' address, whether commercial or warehouse or whatever the address it is. So this is where when they work in terms of logistics management, this is the kind of work that the students do. These are the kind of profiles which are offered to the students when they are working in logistics area. Aviation operations, which again is one of the major sectors where there is a healthy growth in terms of last couple of years, since the economy has once again started coming up, and more and more people are traveling by air, more and more uh, trade is being done through the operations, aviation operations. Companies you all must be aware of, like FedEx is one of that, and but any company, any fast moving consumer good or other white goods which are being produced for a longer distance, they are being done through aviation. And apart from that also, even people, the number of people, those who are now traveling by air, so lot many skilled people are required for aviation operations also. And in next 2 decades, the traffic which is going to increase is more than 5 times what it is at the current level. So if people pursue this program, or people pursuing these programs are uh, open to work in the area of, say, customer relation management, they are open to work in the area of revenue management. That is one of the major and one of the critical aspects, because the kind of market in which different airlines are working, it's quite a struggle to uh, make them profitable, and that's where the revenues in terms of ticketing, how to price the ticket of the airport, of the air ticket. And apart from that, what are the charges if you need to take the fast moving consumer goods or other things which are involved in the trade through the international air freight carriers, as I mentioned in case of the logistics. So what happens here is that students work in case of fueling management, in case of customer relation management, in terms of revenue management. If I need to simplify it, I would like to express that in simple words, they work in the different domains on the aviation operations, which include air side, they include land operations, they include terminal operations also. On when I say air side, it includes parking of private vehicles, or the movement of various private vehicles within the airport, like the buses which take you from lounge to the plane, the buses which or the trolleys, or the management which is done, or the machinery which carries your luggage from belt to the plane. Similarly, the products or the consignments from the courier services which need to be taken to the plane, that includes on the air side. In terms of terminal, they work in case of baggage areas. They also work on the land operations, which is like the all the shops which you see at the airport, all the space which is provided to those people who want to set up their shops, that comes under land side, or the space management operations. So all the people who are working on the in the aviation sectors, this is the work which they do. These are the broad areas in which they work, and these are the career options which they have when they work in case of aviation operations. Coming to auto marketing, uh, automobile sector has again been developing and has seen a tremendous growth in post 90s, as more and more international firms, more and more international companies have come into the play. You name in terms of two wheelers, say Ducati, Harley Davidson. Then there are companies which are dealing in that, or the dealers, or big boy toys, which further sells international big four wheelers. So in this case also, there are around, say, possibility of another 65 million additional jobs in next decade or so. And different career options which students have here is business development, again, as I said before, sales and marketing, uh, in terms of customer service, in terms of auto financing or auto insurances, and some of the students also either have their existing dealerships or they are keen to carry their own business, or they are keen to have their own dealerships in terms of the automobile business. So they prefer to become entrepreneurs, and time spent at the universities, at our university under this program, the exposure which they get from the industry, as well as we have a entrepreneurial cell also here that with whom they work in tandem. They get that exposure, and these are the different careers which they can opt for. Apart from doing a job, they can also have their entrepreneurial initiative, uh, where they can have a dealership of some of the company and they can do business. Apart from that, there are a couple of functional programs, like I mentioned. One is financial analysis and services. We all are aware of uh, different financial institutions, whether it's banking or non-banking financial institutions, or it's insurance sector. Uh, we have this undergraduate program. Uh, as the economy is expanding rapidly, there is more and more growth of financial services. Students at your age who watch TV these days, there are many ads which promote or which suggest you that you should start investing in mutual funds because of the returns. That's one small example of the financial product which different financial services or different financial institutions or companies they provide. Uh, Having a very good department of finance at the university, and uh, the different career options here after you pursue this program at the university are: you can be a financial analyst, where you are working for a certain company and you compare certain products, financial products, and then you can design your product accordingly. You can be a credit analyst, you can join a investment bank, uh, you can join any non-banking financial institution. Muthoot Finance is one of the name which you must have heard of, where our students have applied, where our students have worked in the past, and they are working now also in different non-banking financial institutions. Apart from that, there can be business development, or there can be a relationship manager here, like those who work in banks or non-banking financial institutions. You can work in a stock broking company, you can work as a stock broker, and during the exposure visits or the internship, students are given exposure of, say, stock exchange at Mumbai. They are also taken there for the exposure visits. So these are basically different career options if you pursue, if the people who have interest in stocks, people those who have interest in financial analysis. So these are the kind of services which or these are the kind of options which a student can opt in terms of a career. Coming next to that, the another functional or the domain specific program is in terms of foreign trade. To simply put forward, India has been trying to increase their share globally in terms of the global trade, in terms of exports as well as imports. So this is one of the major programs in terms of which includes what we can say logistics, which includes marketing, which includes the trade of the product when it crosses the boundary of the country or the geographical boundaries of the country. It is called as international trade or foreign trade. And The different career options here are for the students who are pursuing this program are to work with various export houses. When you are working with export houses, you can work in the area of research analyst. You can work in the area of, say, marketing of their product internationally. The good thing about the program is that if you are in this domain, there are various domains in which you can get the jobs, whether it's marketing or it's third party logistics. Apart from that, there are multilateral agencies, as well as consultancies which work with international trade. To give you an example, in simple words, the students where they have been placed, like APAC Sourcing Solutions or Modern Intelligence, which is a research-based firm. Uh, One simple example I would share with you, like a person working in APAC Sourcing Solution, they work in the area of chemicals. So the trade of chemicals take place. As a executive, as a say management trainee, you will be working on that profile where of a business development for the company, where you buy the chemical at a uh, cheaper or more economical price from, say, Indian or Chinese market, and then these chemicals are to be sold to the buyers in Europe or in US. So what you do is either you are finding the clients in Europe where you explain them that okay, these are the rates or these are the prices at which you can get relatively more economical, but the basic is that you work on those sourcing solution where you buy products from market A, which in this case of example is India or China, and you sell that product in market B in the developed world at a higher price. Similarly, if you are working in a research firm, in that case, like I mentioned, consultancies. Some of our students are also working in Modern Intelligence in Hyderabad. That's again a research based firm where you need to make reports for Fortune 500 companies, where you collect information from the different websites, you collect information from the secondary as well as primary uh, sources to form that report for certain companies. Digital marketing, as I mentioned before, that as more and more uh, internet penetration is happening, and more e-commerce business is happening, there has been tremendous increase in terms of digital advertisement, in terms of developing the websites. According to the recent research undertaken by Economic Times and couple of other firms, there is going to be increased in the marketing budgets of the Indian firms in terms of digital media, that is almost up to say 74% if you talk in terms of number. And within that there are a couple of areas, like say if you need to spread your brand awareness, if you need to acquire new products or new customers, in terms of quality, in terms of say decreasing the cost, or in terms of retaining the consumers, all the advertisement that would be done on the different platforms, that comes under digital marketing. So this is one of the most important programs for the people who either wish to work in e-commerce, or they want to work in media management, or they want to get into digital marketing. These all are interrelated. So the students who are working in digital marketing, they should be aware of that in 2018 or the coming years, almost 80% of the traffic which would be online would be of the videos. So when you say digital marketing, it can be a website, it can be videos that you upload on the YouTube, it can be videos that you upload on the different other platforms digitally. And 61% of the market in India, the firms which will be investing, that is increasing, or that would be almost 61%. Within that, there is content which need to be developed. There need to be certain data analysis when you are dealing with so many products which need to be put up or which need to be marketed digitally. You need to take care of say certain events, certain mailing options, certain customer relation management activities. All this is part of the digital marketing, and all these services are which help customer or which help firms to increase their penetration into the market. So these are different domains where the students will work if they work in case of digital marketing. And when you carry this work, whether it's a online website that needs to be developed, or the content which needs to be developed to be written on those websites, or the videos that need to be uploaded which provide information about the product or the service which you are selling, or the service which is your client for marketing or advertising their project. So when you do these work, these are different career options or areas or domains. You work as a digital strategist, where you frame a strategy that whether this product is better by web or it should be backed by video content, online video. You work as social media manager, you work as advertising manager, you also work as digital business marketer, where you bring the business for the digital company, where you bring the clients, where you bring the accounts from the different companies, or business development executive. BBA Accounting and Information System, and BA Economics. These are relatively new programs where the objective is to combine uh, IT services with the financial services or with the accountancy and finance programs. And BA Economics is a relatively new program, which is again specifically related to the energy economics part or energy economic analyst part, where researchers will again work in the energy sector, as I mentioned in the beginning for BBA power sector. So the people working in the energy economic sector would be working for different energy sector. They'll be doing research in that sector, and they can definitely join later on the career in case of, say, as a economist, as a research associates, or as economic analyst. Having said that, I'll share with you that what is the placement status for the 2017, and you can see that the numbers are high in terms of the placement for the university. We have a dedicated placement team which works for getting the student placed in the different profiles or different domains across the different companies. One thing I would like to clarify here, that when you see that 100% place, you need to understand that we are not saying that if there are 40 students in a one domain or 400 students, 500 students across the domains all are placed. After pursuing their program, after pursuing their undergraduation program, some of the students they opt for higher studies. Some of the students they join the business of their parents, what is already functioning. But the students who opt for the placement, like to make it simple, if there are 100 students and only 60 students opt for the placement, and once those 60 students are placed, that's what we refer as 100% placement for the students. But yeah, at the same time, I would like to mention here that students who have not cleared their exams from the previous semesters are not eligible for the placement. So they are also taken out from that list, that if 60 students have opted for the placement and 5 students have not cleared their exams for the domain specific programs which they are pursuing, in that case the total is 55% is what is considered as the 100%. So once those 55 students are placed, we consider that the placement is 100%. The eligibility and selection criteria, we shared it in the last webinar presentation also, that students having more than 50% marks in 10th and plus 2, and then they need to go through the screening process. They need to appear for the intern exam that is conducted by the university, which is followed by the interviews. Major recruiters, you can see FedEx in terms of logistics, SpiceJet in terms of aviation operations, Audi, Harley Davidson in terms of uh, auto marketing. Couple of pictures for personality enhancement program, students joining hands to learn teamwork, to work together. Industry visit for aviation operations, they were visited Hyderabad airport. Students doing auto marketing at Mercedes-Benz showroom in Mohali, they did their summer internship there. Harley Davidson, again auto marketing students. Some of the pictures of community service where student visited nearby village and they spent a day with the students there in the school in teaching them and sharing with them. Plantations of the trees to have more and more of greenery around, which helps to have a better environment for the next generation. They are taking place in the activities at the student as well as in nearby areas. This is the cleanliness drive at Prem Nagar. Thank you, and I'm open for any questions. Okay, I'll address Bharti. Your question is that job I will get after doing BBA, what I have to do. Uh, Quite a broad question, Bharti. Sorry, Bratati. I would answer it. I hope you are satisfied with that. One is that you need to, as I have shared with you information about the different domains at the university, you need to decide on that which is your area of interest. When you decide on area of interest, make sure that you have second or third option also, uh, because when you appear for the interview and you give your exam and then you join the give your options, if you are not selected for the first option, there should be second or third option saved with you. So according to your area of interest and according to the information that we have shared about the different domains, you need to select on your own that whether you want to go in the aviation sector, or your interest lies in the logistics sector, or your interest lies in the foreign trade sector. First, you need to uh, check your area of interest, and then you can opt for that option or that domain in the interviews. Once that is done, then you can pursue your 3 years program, and you can have the career as I mentioned in case of the presentation, that whichever option you will choose, whichever area or whichever undergraduation program you will choose. Say for example you choose logistics management, as I told you that the various career options that you will have when you will work with the different organizations. Uh, it would be nice if you specify that which is your area of interest which you want to opt to. I can go a step ahead to guide you in that. Okay. Second question is by Siddharth Manchanda, that what career options do I have if I go into the digital marketing? Uh, Siddharth, if you have listened to the presentation or the webinar, I specifically mentioned that as more and more companies are and more e-commerce business is developing, most of the companies are advertising on the different platforms, and that is where digital media plays a critical role. When you are working in the digital marketing area, suppose you need to sell a, say, mobile which you buy online. A mobile company or a media digital company which is having the account for that company, they need to develop content for the product which they are selling. You need to tell all the features, as you must have come across while doing online shopping. You compare those features to the different other products of the similarly. That content development is one part. You can be a content developer, one. Secondly, you can work in the customer relation management, where you provide information about those personalized services, what you refer as in terms of digital marketing. When you are working online, you send those emails, you share those information through emails, you set up online events, you set up certain webinars like this. Like you take an example of this webinar we are sharing with you about the programs at the university. This is a digital platform. This is, we are working through internet, and as I mentioned in my presentation that most of the businesses or most of the online space would be taken by, say, video content. So like you develop a content, like you develop a website page, you also make videos, you also develop content through the videos, which is shared with the buyers. So you will be head for the content developer in terms of video also. These are broadly different areas where you can work after doing your or after pursuing your undergraduation in digital marketing, where you can work as an executive in terms of customer relation management. You can work as a business development manager for a certain company or a media house where you need to bring in more business for that firm. Like in simple words, you have to bring clients, those who are ready to advertise or ready to uh, use your platform as a to for the advertisement, for the digital advertisement. Apart from that, you can work in NDTV as a management trainee, as intern. You can work with them. You can work in media houses. You can also work with the companies. When I say with the fast moving consumer good companies, those companies which sell their product, which need to sell their product digitally, you can work with them and you can develop that how the market, how the company needs to develop their what you say in terms of spreading awareness about that project on digital media platforms. Apart from that, you can also work as public relation officers for those institutions or for those companies. So these are few areas where after working or after pursuing your digital marketing undergraduation program, these are the different career options which you can pursue. I hope I am able to answer what you have asked. If there is something else, you can still put it forward that if some more clarification is required. Tanmay, the question lies outside the domain of my presentation, that would you recommend MBA at UPS or government university such as I am? Uh, this is not what this platform is for, but still answering your question, I would like to say one thing, that it also depends on your capabilities. Uh, we are a private university. I am is a public institution, and there is no denying about the fact that that is among the premier institutions in the country. But at the same time, the number of applicants, the number of students who want to pursue MBA and they want to get into the different careers or jobs is large, is huge in terms of in comparison to the seats which I am offered. So it's really good if you are able to crack that, and if you are able to do that, in that case I wish you all the best. You get selected for IIM. But in case unfortunately or some students who are not able to crack that, that's number one. And at the same time, some are equally competent, but because of less number of seats they are not able to come into that merit. They do pursue MBAs from the private universities. And when it comes to private universities, as in case of undergraduate program, our MBAs are also, we have different domain specific programs, and that is where we as a University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, we are differentiator, and that's where we have different domains and different sectors in which you can do an MBA. So in case of private universities, we are one of the leading universities that offers different domains, and it would be a good decision to do MBA from the UPS. I hope I am able to answer what you have asked, though it lied outside the domain of the presentation and webinar today. Done. ये केशव गोयल कौन है? Thank you, Tanmay.